Richard for Hip Hop Robot, and for today's review I've got the rest of the pieces to Combiner Wars, or the Deluxes, or the Limbs, or whatever you want to call them. I found these at Walmart of all places, so a lot of people were finding them at Target. It looks like today, which is the end of January, they're starting to show up at Walmart now. So if that's the place to find them, everybody better go out and look because they're there. Real quick, the packaging, I've showed off the smaller Legion size, and the Deluxe, I guess you want to call these, has sort of the same thing going on where you got the comic book cover style art on the back. You got your figure, you see what vehicle mode he's in, and also you get some hints that this is part of something bigger. When you get to the back, you can see normal graphics, but more importantly, you can see which piece of the puzzle this belongs to. I thought it was kind of weird that they would come out with 3 Autobots and a Decepticon in the first wave, but I think maybe the idea was that they wanted you to know that there's more to this. So you get your hopes up on this. You can technically build a complete robot with this plus one of the Voyagers that are out there. But you know that because he's a Decepticon, there's going to be more Decepticons. There's going to be a leader Decepticon combiner. So I kind of get that. That's pretty cool. But it was pretty awesome finding these finally. The figures are pretty sturdy. They feel a little bit better designed than some of the other Deluxes that have been out. They're about roughly, good size for Deluxes. They feel actually a little bit bigger compared to some of the Deluxes from recent Transformer line. They've got a cool aspect where, each of them come with 2 weapons. So they got their standard weapon and they got a larger weapon that will assist them when they combine and form limbs. And overall, they just, they have good styling, good paint apps, lots of posability. The joints are pretty stiff and tight, not like bad stiff, but like nice and, they'll hold their shape and easy to pose. The Aerialbots, you'll see when you get these, they have a very similar transformation style. Except for Alpha Bravo, he kind of seems to be doing his own thing, which kind of takes away from the fact that he's supposed to be one of the Aerialbots, which is another thing we'll talk about later. But, and even with Dragstrip, he's actually a little bit sturdier when you transform him into limb mode and vehicle mode. He's, snaps together pretty well. Each of them have a lot of stuff that gets pegged in to help make them sturdy when they transform. So that's another nice aspect. So when you get these, you're going to feel like your money's well spent. Like they are really well engineered. The size is good, the paint apps are good, accessories, everything all together will make you enjoy having these. If you're just going to collect them and display them, that's fine, but you're probably going to want to play with these a little bit and mess with them because they're just that cool. So here we have them in vehicle mode, and you'll probably notice right away that Dragstrip looks pretty big compared to the rest of the Aerialbots. We'll also talk later how this plays into the combiner limbs. Actually get the rims painted, which a lot of times on the Hasbro toys, the whole wheel is painted black. With Alpha Bravo, actually he's kind of big compared to the other jets. He's pretty detailed, looks pretty good. They'll probably end up repainting him probably for the Combaticons and the Protectobots, but overall good styling. These 2 guys, they're very faithful to their G1 counterparts. They transform almost identically, which kind of helps in when they form their limbs. You pretty much have the kind of same style, same look, which is again reminiscent to the original G1 counterparts. So overall, vehicle molds are pretty tight. They have ways for their weapons to connect to them in various ports. So pretty much all of them will have a way for you to connect the extra pieces. which is another cool aspect. So, you know, you can tell they put a little thought into how these can interact, how you can play with them, how you can do different things with them. So that's another cool aspect. So here you've got one of the combined modes with the Ultra Optimus figure. The cool thing is that, just like the original toys, the limbs can switch around. So in other words, he could be the foot, he could be an arm. The fists are designed, well, I call them fists, but the accessories are designed so that they can be fists or they can be feet. So you don't have to worry about which you have. It'll just work out depending on how you put it together. When you're putting them into hands, you just bring the thumb around and the thumb actually pivots. So depending on whether it's left or right, you can make it whichever hand you want. And each fist has a hole that will fit the standard weapons. So any of the, you know, deluxe or Voyager size weapons that you have for any of the various characters will work. One thing I did notice, so again with this release, you get 3 Autobots and 1 Decepticon. Drag strip is a little bit bigger than the Aerialbots. Doesn't make a lot of sense because the Aerialbots are jets. They should be bigger. But you wouldn't be able to put drag strip as one of the feet because he'll end up being a little bit too long because of the way they designed him. So ultimately that also means that Menasor is probably a tad bit bigger when you put him together, even though his centerpiece is a remold of the Optimus figure. So that's kind of an interesting aspect. But as long as you understand that, you can obviously still make him, you know, an arm or whatnot. Kind of going back to Optimus from the other reviews, you know, he can be displayed either way at this point. The figures that are compatible for this chest piece haven't really started making it around yet. So there's a Decepticon for Menasor. There's a repaint that'll be Hot Rod that will be able to, you know, go along with Optimus and the other characters that come out eventually. So that's kind of a cool aspect, but it still leaves, you know, kind of our ultimate figure here left out. So like we showed before, Power Glide can be a weapon, and now you can see him actually in use with one of the combined modes. There'll be a repaint of the Decepticon version. It'll come out later, so that'll go with Menasor once it happens. And now we're basically just kind of waiting for like a complete full group. The next wave should have the other Aerobot that's missing, along with the Stunticon, so you'll be able to build a complete Menasor with just Decepticon figures. And there's even some rumor that there are going to be some Toys R Us exclusive Aerialbot and Stunticon members, so you can have your original team without having, you know, one of these new guys, kind of like we've seen before. But overall, in the combined mode, it's pretty sturdy. They made it to, I guess, withstand like a normal kid playing with it. When you put it together, it feels sturdy, it feels solid, and that's kind of a cool aspect. If you're old enough to have played with like the original Superion and these combiners, they were pretty sturdy too, but they weren't very articulated. And here you got something that's, you know, averagely well articulated and still pretty sturdy too. So that's kind of a nice aspect to all this. But there you have it. Right now these are pretty hard to find. Again, I found the limbs at Walmart of all places. Optimus I got from ToysRUs.com. They're not showing up in stores for whatever reason, so you might be better trying to get them from ToysRUs.com right now. But if you see them, I would definitely recommend getting them. But we thank you for watching our review, and tune into next time. We got a lot of new exciting stuff headed our way.